Hello everybody and welcome to another podcast. My name is Jo Morton-Brown and I work as a school-based counsellor. So my role working with children and young people as a counsellor is actually based in schools. So I get to see what's really going on. I also have a YouTube channel which is called Flourish, or you can Google YouTube and Jo Morton-Brown and it will come up. And it's a channel that's aimed to promote good mental health. I also deliver training to adults about mental health in children and young people. I go into schools to deliver workshops and assemblies, and I love my job. I'm one of those really lucky people. I'm a really proud ambassador for the charity of MACS. I think that I always say MACS, and it sounds like I'm saying MACS, as in the name. I'm not, I'm saying MACS. And they're so similar. I think that's just my Essex accent. But I'm a really proud ambassador for the charity. I think they achieve great things. And I've absolutely loved doing this series of podcasts over the year because their goal as a charity is to really help the children and young people to be the best versions of themselves and to really believe in themselves. And it's a privilege to really be able to deliver their message in a way that's hopefully understandable for you guys. These videos are completely unedited. Just you and me. There's some blunders and there's some mistakes maybe, but actually it's just a chance where we get to be together. Now, in the background, as you know, there's always a red bus, this is me trying to think, a telephone box and a post box. So good luck trying to find them whilst I'm talking if you're watching this. Now, in this particular video, we really want to identify anxiety. We want to talk about what is anxiety, how can it affect us? And actually, when we're going to actually air this particular podcast, we'll be going back to school. So actually there's some top tips for as you returning back to school. Now, the thing is with anxiety is that it can trigger really unhealthy and unhelpful feelings within our body. And that could be maybe panic attacks or just simply feeling overwhelmed, teary. And actually what I want us to do is I want us to actually recognise exactly what's going on. Sometimes what we do as adults, as children, as young people, is that we can be really busy. And sometimes it's easy to be busy because guess what? We don't have to involve ourselves with our own drama because guess what? Our friend needs us, or we need to do this and we need to do that. When actually, I just need us to slow it down. And I need us to actually find out what's going on and how we're really feeling. Now, in life, we've got head talk and heart talk. And actually there's a great big difference between the two there. And actually head talk is about talking ourselves into something, okay? It's about telling ourselves that, you know, that's what we need to do and we need to do that. We need to do, yeah, I've got to do that. And actually it's sometimes we need to follow our heart and actually follow that feeling in our gut, okay? And there's a real big difference between the two. Now when it comes to anxiety, anxiety is basically a feeling that's completely natural. I want you to imagine this continuum, okay, this long line, this scale. And at one end, when we're feeling anxious, it's to recognise that most of the time it's helpful, it's healthy, and it's productive. Perfect. Now, with that, sometimes what happens is that it gets a bit too much, okay, and it moves up that continuum. And sometimes it can become a little bit harder. Now, what may happen with some people, some children, young people, even adults, is that it becomes too much. Now, this is very different ends of the scale, okay? Because when it is moving up, further up here, it can really stop us from living the best life. It can maybe make us feel as if we don't want to leave the house. It can maybe just make it harder in different ways. And with that, I need us to recognise that actually, when it's further up this end, that's where maybe it may be an anxiety disorder. Now this isn't a video about that, but this is a video to let you know that actually if this anxiety is getting too big, too hard, then what you might need to do is you really will need to speak to a trusted adult and maybe consider a doctor's appointment. But what we're going to do is we're going to work on with this part here, okay, this helpful, healthy and productive anxiety to make sure that we keep it there, because guess what, it's naturally going to creep up. It's naturally going to creep up where sometimes our anxiety is unhelpful, unhealthy, and certainly unproductive. So this is my part. Now, anxiety is about being fearful of the future. It's about a big game of what ifs. Now, what if this happens? What if that happens? I need you to recognise that in your brain, because our brains are clever, is that it's got a movie set going on with lights, camera, action. Guess what? It's picturing exactly what's going to happen. It's got it going on. And then we've then got this kind of critic about, gosh, and then that will happen and that will happen. And then we're almost thinking about, well, what will I reply? How will I respond? So you imagine exactly what's going on. And sometimes that might happen when we're in lesson. Sometimes it might be happening when we're trying to get to sleep or we're just trying to relax. So actually, when it's getting harder and life's getting more tough, actually, that's where this gets busier. Okay? Now, the thing is, though, that anxiety that will creep up every now and then, that's okay. But what's not okay is when it's constantly on high alert, because actually that affects our body. Now, when we're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, stressed and worried, it can maybe make us feel more irritable. We might have less patience. We might be quite teary. It might affect our ability to sleep. It might change our eating habits. It might even trigger us to maybe have panic attacks where we can't quite catch our breath. Now, with all of that, it can be quite scary. But what I need us to do is I need us to kind of allow this. It's a great acronym, RAIN. Now, I'm not too sure if I've mentioned about the acronym of RAIN before, because these podcasts have been over so long now. But RAIN basically stands for how we need to allow ourselves to have a little rain in our life. The R is for recognise. I need us, when we're feeling anxious, I need us to recognise how we're feeling. A, tricky. Allow ourselves to feel it. It's so easy to become the rescuer, somebody that involves themselves with other people's drama, the mama of the group, the dada of the group, who wants to instantly help other people. But actually what that's doing is that's just allowing you to avoid how you're feeling. So we've got recognise, we've got A for allow, only for a certain period of time. The I is to investigate with kindness, okay? Investigate maybe why you might be feeling like this. Is it that you've got some upcoming tests? Is it because you've fallen out with a friend? Is it because you've got too much homework? It's about actually kind of investigating why you're feeling like this. And instead of like trying to be like, no, it's too much, it's too much. Just allow it. Make room for it. Because now we know why we're feeling like that. And there's always a reason. We might not necessarily know why in our brains consciously. Our conscious awareness is exactly what we know, what we're doing when we're doing it, and it's that person's birthday and we're back to school in September. You know, there's so much in our brains that we're aware of, but actually subconsciously, which is where we might daydream from. It might be flashbacks, it might be dreaming when we're actually going to bed at night. So they're healthy, they're normal, but actually they're kind of maybe the signs that actually we need to do something about this anxiety. Now, as we go back to school, I need us to remind ourselves that fear and excitement give you the same physiological feelings, okay? So often we might be thinking, oh, I'm so nervous of going back to school, I'm petrified, I'm so fearful, when actually, there might be a chance that you're actually a little bit excited as well. Because excited is allowing yourself to recognise that you're going to be seeing your friends more often. There's the new opportunity to maybe make new friends or to meet new teachers. So it's about the opportunities of what you've got ahead of you as well. Now, we need us to listen to our bodies, okay? We need to allow that reign. But actually, when it comes back to school, and I'm going to keep this quite brief because you might watch this podcast later on in the year, but so this might be how you're feeling at the start of the spring term in December, or start of the summer term after Easter, or after the 6 weeks holiday. It might even be after a half-term break, but I need us to recognise that it's natural to feel the wobbles. But what can you do about it? Well, the first one is embrace getting back into a routine. Like it or not, we've got to get back to school. Is it easy? Not necessarily. And especially at the beginning, it's hard because we're fearful of what ifs, okay? What if this happens? What if that happens? What do I say if that person says that? So actually, let's get back into a routine. Let's actually embrace what our mornings are like. And I always encourage you guys to, the first few days before you go back to school, start getting back into that morning routine, at least setting your alarm and waking up from it. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the same time that it would be when you go to school, but just allow your brain to get used to the sound of you waking up to that alarm. The next one is when we're going back to school, it's so easy to focus on the negatives. But actually, stop thinking, this is a quote, stop thinking of all the things that could go wrong and start thinking of all the things that could go right. Because actually, this particular school year or this particular term, you might meet your future best friend that might be a bridesmaid or an usher at your wedding. You do not know. I say that because in year 11, I met my oldest true best friend who was bridesmaid at my wedding in year 11. Year 11. So you never know. I want you to really tap into calming strategies, okay? Now, when we're at school, when we're surrounded by other people, and this might be even social events as well, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed. Now, that's not just you, that's everybody that feels like that. But actually what I need us to remind ourselves is that, okay, this is how I'm feeling, what can I do about it? Okay, so there's some techniques out there. There's the bumblebee, which is a humming. So if you're on your own, it's just, and it's just breathing in through the nose, and then breathing out is making that humming noise. That is just a self-soothing noise that can actually allow your diaphragm and your vocal cords just to relax. Another one is to find affirmations. Affirmations are those words, we've spoken about this before, these positive words, mantras, phrases that can really help us find ways to comfort ourselves. So this girl can, this boy can, I'm trying to think of them. I'm capable of amazing things. I can achieve great things. You know, there's so many. I'm put on the spot now, I can't even think of them. I'm not even going to try and think of them because, yeah. But research them and find them, because it's all about being kind to yourself. My next one is, when it comes to those calming strategies, is tapping. Okay, this sounds really silly. There's this type of therapy called emotional freedom therapy, EFT, also known as tapping therapy or just tapping. And with that, there's certain parts of our bodies that are meridian points, are calming points, are soothing points. And basically what you can do is you can tap certain places and just breathe. Again, research it from a reliable source. I haven't got time to go through it now, but I just sometimes just find it really calming, okay? Because there's different parts, I'm trying to remember now, there's different parts of the body, but I like this one in particular. Another one is, say you're there, you're in the busy corridors, you're at a social event, there's a party, all a bit too much, is to do finger breathing, okay? So you take the shape of your hand, you take one finger and you trace around the other. And with that, it's breathing in and out. Or you might want to do each finger breathing in, breathing out, slow and steady. This one's great because it will allow you to focus on exactly your hand rather than what's going around you. And the beauty with these is these can also be used if, heaven forbid, you're having a panic attack. The next one is if we're feeling really fearful, really anxious, is to look around the room and look at all the things that are a particular colour. So any colour, green. So you're looking around, okay, slow and steady, and then change the colour to red, okay, or yellow. And as you're looking around for everything that's red, okay. Now what you're actually doing is that you're actually not thinking about the first colour of green because you're so focused on the next colour. And sometimes it's about that distraction, about that realisation of where you're at. I'm going to keep going with breathing techniques, okay? Another one of my favourite ones is square breathing. Square breathing is in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Really simple, you can't go wrong with that. And another one, this is the nearest thing I can find for a rectangle. It can be your phone, it can be the door frame, it can be the window frame, it can be, if you're in the exam hall, it could be maybe a brick. Basically, as you take the shape of a rectangle, your in-breath, again, breathing in through your nose, nice and softly, as if you're smelling chocolate or candy. I don't know why I call it candy, sweeties. And then with that, it's about blowing that out breath out through the mouth as if you're blowing out candles on a cake. Now, I don't want you to blow out candles on a cake where you're doing a raspberry and there's all your saliva over that cake. This is slow and gentle. So the shortest side of the rectangle is where you're taking a breath in. Corners are a pause, and the longest side is an out breath. Okay, because the beauty with that is that we're regulating our breathing. Now, certainly if you're having a panic attack, which is where we are on alert, we can't find our breath and we're feeling extremely scared in that particular moment, these breathing techniques that will be the best ones for you. And again, research them, find the best ones for you. This is one of my favourites because there are the shapes of rectangles all around us, computer screens, tablets, mobiles. I know it sounds silly, but even a highlighter, like they're there. And it's just about finding what works best for you. So we've got the calming strategies. Let me take it back to school, okay? And my next one is that, and this is like everything really, don't bottle up your feelings, okay? If you're feeling anxious and it's starting to get a bit too much, don't bottle them up. If you're bottling them up, then they're going to get heavy, okay? I want you to imagine the most horrible vegetable, okay? Or fruit. And I want you to imagine how much you hate it, and maybe how much, when it's raw, how it might feel or how it might smell if it's cooked, right? And I want you to imagine your worries as that particular vegetable or fruit, and you're holding them, okay? And the more you worry, the more that anxiety gets bigger and bigger, the more of those horrible vegetables, fruit that you'll be carrying, okay? And with that, I want you to imagine that not only is it difficult to hold them, because guess what, we can't stand them, but it's going to get so heavy that our arms are going to ache. We're going to get tired. And actually what might happen is we might just like break down and feel as if we've hit rock bottom. So actually what I need us to do is need us to imagine that we've got this worry and actually, okay, well, what is it? Okay. I'm feeling worried about school or tests. Okay. And talk about it with a trusted adult. Talk about it with a friend. With my friends, I always ask them, do you have the emotional capacity to listen to me offload with you? Because sometimes we can't take offence when our friends are already going through their own drama. So we just have to maybe make sure that as friends that we're not putting too much on them. And by asking them permission, do you have enough space to listen to my worries? Then without taking offence, if they say no, then at least you've not made it any harder for them. And you know that, okay, I respect you and I'm going to go and find somebody else, not a problem. And then once you're feeling more stable and more sturdy with your emotional health, then maybe you can go and see if they're okay. So it's all about you making sure that you're looking after you. And it's about recognising that when we are back to school, curious and excited as we know are very similar, fearful and excited. But actually, it's just about reminding yourself that once you get going and you're back into the swing of things, it will be like you never had a holiday, whether that was the festive period, whether that's Easter, whether that's the summer holidays. I think that's sometimes what's the hardest thing. One thing that I did want to just talk about quickly is if we do have that social anxiety and if we do struggle to make conversation, so this might be at school, this might be at a party or something like that, is that I just want to let you know that, and I know I've spoken about this before, but people do love talking about themselves. So again, it's the same with making new friends. People love to talk about themselves. The thing is though, okay, here's the thing. I need you to find, and there's this fantastic film, We Bought a Zoo or something like that. It's got Matt Damon in it. And he explains about how sometimes you have to find 20 seconds of complete bravery to really go for it, okay? Because actually it's only in those moments of 20 seconds of you maybe saying hello or maybe you starting a conversation that might be the best thing. So if you've got a disagreement that's going on with friends or a family member, maybe it's those 20 seconds to let that person know how you're feeling. So sometimes we just need to dig deep with that sheer utter bravery, and you never know what might come from it, what good might come from it. So certainly when it comes to making new friends and socialising, is that I want you to ask questions. Certainly on the first few days back after any holidays after school. Ask questions. I want you to be open with your body language. I want you to put your phone away. I want you to show that you care and that you're listening. So by doing that, it's making eye contact again. Maybe the bridge of their nose, if looking into their eyes is just too hard for some people. And it's kind of just reminding ourselves that, yes, we might be cut up about our own insecurities, about our own body or our personality, thinking, God, that was Essex, wasn't it? Thinking that, we're no good, nobody wants to be our friends. But actually, hold up. How dare you put yourself down? You do not deserve that. You don't realise what great things you bring to this world. So it's just about recognising that and reminding yourself that. And there's this thing, the spotlight theory, okay, which is where when we're out, maybe in town, maybe with our friends, maybe at school, is that we are so convinced that everybody is shining a spotlight on us. Okay, so I want you to imagine walking down the corridors at school and we are convinced everybody is shining their attention, their spotlight onto us, and everyone's looking at us. When actually the truth is everybody is so paranoid about their own spotlight and everybody else's spotlight that actually other people have got more important things to be doing than to constantly be watching you. And don't forget that if you're brave enough to speak up in class and answer a question, even if you get it wrong, and people might look at you, actually what they might be thinking is, crikey, they were brave. So stop thinking of all the negatives and actually think about, God, I wish I could speak up like that. Because yeah, God, don't I waffle? Maybe it would be better if it was edited, because then I wouldn't waffle so much. But then you get the real me, and that's exactly what the charity want. So yes, listen, you're incredible. And if you need reminding, then go and ask a loved one, what do you love about me? What do you think of my great qualities? Because I bet you they'll be able to list them off. Listen, you stay awesome. Stay you. Be real. Be you. Embrace being you. And recognise that actually, do you know what? You are pretty awesome. Even if you don't realise it. I'll see you later, guys. Take care. Bye.